Okay, so we got some different presentations today. I'm going to be talking to you about how does your system compare to others. Okay, so we're going to be talking about best practices, some of the trends that we're seeing, and claims and things like that. We've also got some really great other presenters here that have helped us out with this, and we appreciate their help. We've got Mike Lewis from Snyderville Basin Water Reclamation District. He'll be talking to us about our asset management program. We've got Kim Shelley from Utah Department of Environmental Quality. She's going to talk about the Utah Sewer Management Program and things that you need to know now. Some of the new updates to what's going on, where we are currently, and some critical things you want to know about that. And after she talks to us, then we're going to take a break. Girls up here a little bit. See if we can do this again. So after that, we'll take a lunch break, and then we'll have Dee Henfield here to talk about traffic control from the Utah LTAP. And then our concluding presentation will be Jeff Richards from Price River Water Improvement District. He'll be talking about some things that they have from situations to learn from, talking about keeping your head above water. You can't touch the bottom. Okay, so there's some good things there. Really neat information. Like I said, things that you can take and learn from, take back to your organization, share with the people that you work with, and really learn from. So we encourage you to do that. Just take part in it today and participate. Those of you that have your operator numbers, we're going to be submitting this information into the state after this training, so there's possibilities to be receiving EU credit as well. And so what we recommend for that is on your sign-in sheets when you came in today, there's a line there for operator number. If you can ensure that you put your number there, we'll be submitting all this information into the state and asking for approval on UBC EU credit. So make sure you do that during one of the breaks or before you leave today. Make sure you get those numbers on there. So I talked to the DEQ, and they said it's based on approval. So it's based on if it applies to the type of work that you're doing, if the training is applicable, they will review that and then possibly approve and get you 0.1 use per hour. So, possibly get some good credit from here today as well. So make sure you do that. Also on the sign-in, you saw a spot for an email. If you want to put your email on there, we're going to be sending out some other information. From this training today, we'll be sending you some things as far as our manhole inspection manual that we have and other things like that we can talk about today. So make sure your email and information is on there. We'll share that information with you there. Okay. All right. So we're going to talk about how does your system compare. Okay. Now I want to talk about this. We've done some different studies in the last year. We sent out a survey. A lot of you have probably seen our survey. It went out last November. You might have taken part in filling that out and sending it in, or there might have been somebody else that did. But we wanted to look at that and just kind of get an understanding of, what's going on with the systems, what trends are there, what best practices are being done, and then kind of compare that and see how we can do this as far as, across the state, how is everybody doing. And so today we want to talk about, how is your system compared to others? And as we go through this, I want you to think about the best practices that you're doing in your systems. Think about the SSMP that's in place, think about manhole inspections, cleaning. We're going to talk about things like that. What are other entities doing? And maybe there's something that stands out that you can apply as well. So let's talk about that today. And like I said, as we go through, just take from it, learn and see what's going on there. So we have here the trust. We ensure several lines of coverage. We have over 500 different entities throughout the state, whether it's a small town or large community or large city. Special service districts, so there's a wide range of those. And so we found that there's 123 of the members here that we insure that have a sewer system. They either own or operate that sewer system. And so of those 123, we wanted to identify, what's going on, what are they doing, what's working for them, what best practices do they have, who's doing well with preventing backups, and who's struggling. So we kind of looked at that a little bit as well. What we found is that in the last 5 years, there's been 70 members that had some sort of a backup, some sort of a claim that is sewer related, whether it's backup or damage or property damage of some kind. And there was another 53 that did not have any at all. So that's pretty good. There's 53 that did an outstanding job. In the last 5 years, they had no claims related to sewer. So we want to look at that and find out, okay, what are they doing, and what's the best practices they're doing, and how can we share that information with everybody and get that out there. So that's kind of what the focus of our training today is what has been done and what we do going forward there. Looking at performance last year, 2015, there were 37 sewer-related claims. Okay, again, that's around cities, towns, Could be large systems, could be small systems. There were 37. In the last 5 years, there was 148. So that averaged out to about 30 years. So on average, it's about 30, which means in 2015 there was maybe a little bit more based on the average. But we'll look at that. There's some other positive things that came from last year that we want to learn from as well. Okay. So that's just kind of an understanding of what's happened across the state, what people are doing, kind of some averages there. What we looked at is we took this information and we looked at it. Now, how can we base it on if we have a member that has a really small system, and then we've got, say, a large service district that has hundreds and hundreds of connections? How do you compare between the two to make it all work? So we looked at that and we decided to divide it up by per 1,000 connections. And that way it kind of normalizes the information, kind of averages it out so you can have some type of comparison in how many backups per 1,000 connections. So in the last 5 years, there's been 0.72 is about the average that we've had there. And you look at 2015, 0.18. So 2015 was a big improvement for the averages. Did really well in 2015 for any trends there. We also broke this out into miles of pipe. Some cities have more miles of pipe, and others have more connections, but not as many miles of pipe. So there's some variance there as well. So we broke that out and found that in the last 5 years, there was 0.048. The last 5 years was the average, and in 2015, 0.012. So again, it was a better rate in 2015 for preventing types of backups there. Okay. So just kind of some general information for you to think about. Think about your systems where you work. The backups you may have had in the past year, maybe some in the last 5 years. Think about those things you can do to prevent and what's there. Okay. So here's a sampling. We're looking at the data, looking at things there. We had blocked by foreign objects, things getting into systems and blocking those. Had some blocked by grease, lift station failures, construction damage, even roots getting into the lines, busting up the lines, blocking things in there, and then cumulative debris, several things getting into the lines. That can come really from anywhere, whether it's a construction job or somebody's accidentally put something into the line, or maybe a homeowner or somebody put something down that's blocking things up and causing backups. There's several reasons, but these are all examples of what goes on that leads to sewer-related claims there. Okay, so those are things we want to watch for and learn from. All right, a little quick video here. It's like a good time in the storm went off there. So bass fishing in the storm drain, right? Okay, good time there. You never know what you might find in your system, what people are putting down there, right? Toys, other material, construction debris, maybe some bass or trout. You never know. Okay, who knows? So we did this survey I told you about last November. We sent this survey out, had some things going on. We'll look at that, the things that we asked for. But we wanted to get this to kind of compare, see, what's going on? What are people doing? What best practices do they have? Are they in compliance with SSMP and all the things that they're doing? And so we looked at that. We got 111 results out of the 123 members. So we took that 111 and broke that down, put it in a spreadsheet, and compared, again, based on number of connections, based on how many miles of pipe, are they inspecting their manholes, how often are they doing that? And we looked at all this information and kind of looked at the trends as compared. And so I'm going to break that out now for you and kind of look at what people are doing on the averages and how they're working on those things. So the survey says, just like Family Feud, we'll show you what the survey says here. Some trends and some comparisons here. So this is the form that we sent out. Like I said, you might have seen this before. General information, who's the name, who's the person filling it out, how many sewer connections, miles of pipe, how many lift stations, how often are they cleaning, do you have equipment to respond to backups, have you adopted your SSMP, and so there's things there, right? Just an example of what we were looking for on those. So we looked at it, and 111 surveyed, okay, so they're the ones that turned this information in. We found there's 5,827 total miles of pipe, a lot of pipe, right, all across these entities that are going on there. 343,383 connections, 7,198 commercial connections, 208 lift stations, and 125,185 manholes. So there's a whole bunch there, right? You think about all this information. So we've gathered this survey, and it's really covering from the groups that are all these numbers here. Okay? So that's where our survey is coming from. We encourage you this next year. We'll probably do another one of these surveys to keep this going. we encourage you to take part in this and help with this survey because, again, we can learn from that. We can share things and learn from some best practices there. Okay. So that's the totals that we had for our survey on that there. Looking at the results, manholes inspected here. Out of 125,000 or so, we had about 90,185 that were inspected last year. Okay, that's per year. 70, that averages out to about 71% per year are inspecting the manholes. Now again, why do we emphasize this? Why do we want to talk about manhole inspections? Really because if you're getting time, if you're opening that lid, you pop that lid and you look in there, you're going to have a much better understanding of your system. And so that's obviously one of the best practices we want to encourage is keep that going. If you're able to get in every manhole every year and identify any problem areas and get into those areas and back it up, imagine how much time and hassle that might save you. You're going to have less losses, you're going to have less issues, your system's going to operate better. And so we encourage you, make sure that you're doing that to keep those inspections going. Okay. So that's the result there. Doing pretty well. 71%. That's a pretty good average getting into every single year. Okay. Other results here. Average sewer cleaning frequencies. We found that the average MD is doing about 3.92 years is what it takes for them to get through the whole system, to clean that entire system out. Some, being a smaller group, they might be able to do it every year. Some larger systems, they have it maybe on a third of the system per year. And as we sat down and talked with some of these members, that's what a lot of them were, 1/3 of the system they get 1 year, and so on a 3-year time frame, they're getting in, they're cleaning their lines, getting those out, getting those things out. And so we encourage you to look at that too. Look at the frequency of your cleaning. If there's any way to improve that, to increase that amount, to keep those cleanings going, that's obviously going to help with preventing losses as well. Keeping the lines open, keeping things from getting blocked and backed up and having issues there. Okay, so that's our average there, 3.92 liters for the systems. So who's doing the cleaning? We asked this question too. About 50% were doing the agency themselves. They have their own equipment, they have manpower, they have it's part of their system to do those things. And so that was good. About 50% also have a contract. So there's good things with that, and there's also some negatives with that. The negative would be you have to pay somebody else to do it. But again, they may have the right tools and things that they do correctly and may save a lot of hassle. So think about that as far as the things that you do, whether you can increase that, whether you want to do it on your own, or whether you want to contract that out. All right. Okay, survey results. We also looked at agencies and do they have their own equipment? Okay, so out of the 111 that responded to this survey, there were 83 that said yes, they have their own equipment for that. They're able to go and respond. They have a procedure in place. They know who to call. They have all that equipment on hand to take care of it. How great is that? If you can increase that response time, when you get a call, you got a backup, you got somebody coming out, you can jump in there and get that equipment and take care of it yourself instead of having to call somebody else and wait for them to get there and try to fix the problem. So again, that's really good. About 75% of the entities have their own equipment. Okay, so good things there, good practices. As far as adopting the SSMP, how many of those had that in place? We looked at 2014 as this went on, and there was about 34% of the entities had it all in place at that time. We've had different dates and cutoffs and things will be coming into compliance with that. And so we did really good this last year. We had a big jump. About 79% had all their SSMP in place. This was in 2015. 88 out of 111 had that going. And I'm sure now it's even higher. Obviously, we've got some new dates and this year, so I'm sure it's jumped up even more here. But that's really good. It's good that we're doing that. Good that you got your plans in place for preventing backups and keeping your system going there. Okay, how about report cards? So think about this. Talk about the averages. Think about the things that others are doing. You saw there's so many that are doing their inspections, so many that are doing cleaning, and how long it takes to clean their system. Think about your systems and the things that you do. Think about how often are you doing it. Are you getting in all your manholes every year? Or are you cleaning one third of it per year, or can you increase that? So think about all these things we've talked about and how you can improve those things. And then how do you stack up? Let's ask this question: how do you stack up against the averages? We looked at this. In the past few years, we've done these as well. We've sent out a loss performance information here on your system. We can send these out as well. We'll be putting together some more information that we can send out to you as well. That's why we'd like to have your emails on there for attendance. And we'll send you this information for your organization so you can kind of see, how does the trust average across the state, where the average is there, and then how are you doing, okay, as far as model pipe, size, frequency, claims, and losses. We can compare all of that information, so you kind of get a snapshot of where you stand, okay. And we would just encourage you to look at that. Look at things that you might need to improve or change, or things to do to prevent the losses and backups. Okay. So again, send your or put your email on there. Pretty good suction power there on that plunger, right? Okay, so with this, we did these surveys like I talked about, and we took this information, we put it in a spreadsheet to compare, and we looked at, what are people running into as far as root causes of things? What's causing these backups? What's causing these claims? And so we went and sat down with some of those, and we wanted to look at it in terms of, what's the percentage of backups that they're having? What's causing the problems? What can we do to share with others? And so this next section, I'm going to talk about that a little bit now. What we found is that the groups that we met with were in compliance. They had their SSMPs in place. They had a program. They had things that they were doing that were right on, and they had good practices. We also found some root causes that I'll share with you of things that went on there. What we found is that a lot of times it's the budget. A lot of times they're trying to get the budget that they need to buy equipment, to have the manpower, to be able to increase inspections or increase their cleaning. Obviously, it costs money. So we found that was one of the things that stood out to us. If possible, if you're one of those that's the decision maker, or if you're involved in approving these types of things, if there's a way to increase those inspections and increase those best practices as far as manpower and financial standpoint, we recommend you do that, because we've seen people to do that. Obviously, it's going to help your system. It's going to help it keep it going with less backups and less problems. Okay, and so we're going to look at some of these root causes that we ran into, things that stood out to us, and some action plans that some of the entities around the state are putting in place that we're going to do now as a result of talking through these things and going forward there. So there's some really good things that come from it. What we found is some of the cities we went to had really old systems. Very old. They just hadn't had time to go in and replace parts. They had connections that were maybe coming loose. They had old lines that needed to be replaced, and they're in the process of doing that. We had two pretty good-sized cities that were in the process of this year changing out a lot of their lines, going in and redoing things and changing that system so that it flows better. Okay. Even the way that the layout was, over time they added in different connections with different angles, and sometimes it wasn't the best setup to keep the flow going. They would run into certain problem areas because of the way that laterals were tying in and how everything was coming together. And so we encourage you again, look at those things, look at your system. Is there a need for some new piping? Is there a better way to tie these connections in that's not causing these problems? Okay. So we were encouraged to see that there are old systems, but these groups were doing something about it. They were going in and addressing those problems. We found that some were lacking inspections, lack of getting in and doing those manhole inspections. They just didn't get to some of those problem areas as needed. Roots and grease, obviously this is something that happens. You get these areas where you get grease built up from maybe nearby restaurants, you get a lot of grease in there, and you really plug things up in there. Tree roots getting in, breaking into lines, we found that was one of the cases as well. Just roots becoming a problem, getting infiltration into your lines there. And obviously actions by the public, this is another one. I heard of a couple examples where there was a big T-shirt stuck down the pipe, and it was stuck in a lateral for so long that it pushed through and caused things to back up eventually down in the part of their system there. And so being aware of that, talking to homeowners, getting newsletters out, and encouraging them not to do those things is a high possibility. I was thinking the other day I replaced the toilet at my house, and I'm following the instructions on how to do it. You pop the toilet, and they tell you take a big T-shirt or a rag and you stuff it down that little drain line. And they tell you that so that as you're working, you're able to do that. But think of all the homeowners that stuff that rag down in there and they forget to take it out when they set the toilet. I'm sure that's happening, and that might have been the case with this one we talked about, where it ended up pushing through and causing problems. Okay, so actions by the public, the homeowners, the things that they're putting down, little kids, toys, and debris and things like that. That's a big factor. And I was talking with one of the cities here down in Utah County, and they were saying, yeah, how do we address that? How do we get the public to be aware of this and how do we do that? And what they do is they have a newsletter that they send out. So every month they have a newsletter, and they were going to put a big section in their monthly newsletter about awareness to the public, about being aware of things and the problems that can cause in these systems. So that's something we can all learn from. Maybe there's a possibility that you can do a newsletter, some kind of a memo or something out to those people that are in the system to keep things from backing up and having problems there. Okay, those are all things that we learned from talking through things there. Even connections just coming loose over time. Maybe they weren't installed properly, coming loose and having them there. Anybody ever see the baseball with that? A softball in the lines? You never know what can get down there and cause a lot of problems. So action plans, we talked through this. We talked to those members and said, all right, so here's the root causes. Here's what you guys are having going on. What can be done to try to prevent these types of things? Purchase new equipment was one of the recommendations. Whether it's cameras, backup response equipment, whatever it is, have the right equipment that you need to do the job there. Increase your cleaning and inspection. We talked about that. That was another one where we had a group. They were going to increase them this year and get that going more. Address your problem areas. A lot of times there's certain problem areas. Maybe you get a belly in the line. Maybe the way that the system's tied in and the flow of everything. There's certain areas that can back up more often. And so there was one group that talked about hitting this problem area all the time. They go there regularly, more often than any other time in the year. They go to this area because they know in the past they've had certain problems. So when you're looking at this, when you're looking at your backups, you're looking at your claims, are you finding things in the same locations over and over? And if so, look at those areas. Try to address the problem areas that you constantly have those things going on. There was some cases as well where there were backups where they didn't have a part of the system. Maybe their masks weren't up to date. Maybe it was on some property where they didn't know where the manhole was. Maybe it was covered up. Maybe they couldn't find it. But there's been backups from that as well. And so being aware of your system, having your maps up to date, knowing where all the manholes are, those are all things to take part into to prevent backups there. Okay. So address those problem areas. Take time to look at those. If you know those in your system, just think about where's that one place in your system where you're going to have the most trouble, or where are your problem areas. Think about those and focus on those areas there. And then we talked about the reminders to homeowners, being aware, creating that awareness for everybody's aware of what's going on. So a question, are your manholes inspected annually? How much sewer cleaning frequency? What is it? What's your backup response? Who do you call? Thinking through these things and all the procedures that we have and the equipment, taking time to think about that can really prevent a lot of claims and issues down the road. So, SSMP implementation. I get a few laughs out of this. That's a good one. Question here is, do you have your SSMP in place? We're going to talk about that today. We have Kim Shelley from DEQ who's going to talk to us today about what you need to know now, what you need to know about compliance, having your plans in place, being in compliance there. Let's make sure that we have that going up, so we'll have some good information there. Train system operators. Is everybody current? Do they have their certification? Any other training that they need? Is everybody current there to keep that going? What about adequate capacity? Is your system capable of handling the possible capacity that could be there? If you have an elephant-sized flow coming through your system, you want to make sure that your lift stations, your piping, everything, you want to make sure that that's all there so that you don't have those backups and problems. Frequent inspections. Are you doing those frequent inspections? Is your map up to date? As we've talked about, those are all things to think about for your systems there. So when it comes to incidents, when you have a backup or you have some type of loss, you have maybe property damage, what are you doing about it? Do you just take care of the problem and then not think about it, or do you look into it? You try to find out why. Why is something going on? Why are we having these backups? And so this happens with any incident investigation. We do this, whether it's a car accident or an injury or any type of thing like that. We encourage people to look at it. Just take some time and dive into it. See what's really going on there. Find the root cause of why things might really be happening, because it could be, part of the system. It could be part of your practices. It could be part of, what you're doing on a daily basis that might be causing these problems there. So find out why when it comes to that why. If you look at this tree up here, this is all we see. We only see what's on the surface. You look at the tree, it's beautiful. You don't have to think about the root systems down below. You don't have to think about all the things that contribute to making that tree look beautiful and making it grow right. Okay? And so with your systems, when you have an incident, sometimes there's little things that go on that you don't realize. And so we encourage you that if you do have backups, if you do have plans, look into those. Try to find them. Maybe there's problem areas that are having the same problems over and over. Maybe there's different practices or things that you can do to try to prevent those issues. And so we encourage you to do that. Look at those corrective actions and make a plan so that you can correct that going forward to prevent backups. That's looking at sewer management there. All right. This is why you don't rent and operate. Didn't work out so well for him, did it? That is absolutely real. Home video. Don't drink and operate equipment. All right, so some of you might have seen this before. This is our manhole inspection manual. Raise your hand if you've seen this before from the trust. Okay, got a good number of you. Some of you haven't. We're going to be sending this out. Like I said, if you want to put your email on the sign-in sheets out there, we'll send you a copy of this after. But I want to just kind of highlight some of the information from this. There's some really good guidelines in there. We put this information together from several different entities to help us out, and we appreciate them for sharing that information, helping us to identify these things that we can share with you. So there's some really good things there. But it helps to kind of help you see what to look for. You're doing your manhole inspections, different conditions, different things to look for, and it kind of points that out with some pictures, which is very helpful. So looking at conditions, knowing how to look at your adequate flow, how do you determine that when you open the lid, what are you looking for there? We've got some other definitions and some best practices of things that you can use. And it's a very good training tool, something that you can share with your staff, something you can have for maybe a new employee that's new to working on the system, some good information there that we can share with you. So these are some of the pages that come from that. The one on the left here, these are the color conditions, and you can see there's different pictures that kind of show what's satisfactory, what's a higher priority, what's good, what's bad. It kind of breaks that out. So we'll send you a copy of this that you can look at and share with others. Also cone conditions, looking at things there. Trough conditions, looking at what's priority, what's with the grid, what's a big concern, what's not so much of a concern, and you can kind of use that as a guide to know, should we be taking care of this now, or is this something we can do maybe 6 months or next year? It kind of is helpful for a guide as far as that goes. Looking at infiltration, looking at other things like that. So there's some good information there we'll share with you. Make sure you get your emails on the list there. Here's a sample. We have a couple of forms in there. This is just one of those. It's a sample manhole inspection form. You may already have your own. You may have a good process that you're doing already. This is just an example. If you need some or need some other information to add to, you might use a form like this as you go through and do the things you need to do there. So again, it's really good information. And we encourage you, if anybody ever comes across anything that's a new practice or something you're doing that's new that's been really effective for you, maybe you have a really good idea of what you're doing for your system that can apply to others. If you ever come across anything like that, we encourage you to share it with us. Maybe we can get that out and share it with others, and hopefully help each other to prevent losses and claims. Really, we're really in this together. Our organization's here to help serve, and it's everybody that takes part in this to prevent claims and losses. So if you do have something, we'd love to partner with you on that and share that information. So this kind of summarizes what we talked about today as far as the best practices, the different things that we've done and talked about. But one of the keys is know your system. Know where your problem areas are. Know where your manholes are. Make sure you're doing those inspections. Make sure that things are up to date and continually going. And be proactive with it, right? You want to be ahead of the game. You want to be proactive and stay ahead of the issues there. Okay? So make sure your maps are there. Make sure you got the equipment and things that you need to successfully do that. Make yourself a plan. You got your SSMP. Those are in place. Let's make sure we're sticking with that and following through on those requirements. Sticking to those procedures to keep those things going as well. Look at your backup response plan. Use preferred providers. You've got those providers where possibly better pricing for preventing backups and cleanups and things have gone there. So we recommend to use those preferred providers. Maintain your system, the cleaning, the TV, the cammering. Make sure we're doing that on a schedule. Keeping up on that, keeping it going to prevent the losses there. And then lastly, train and certify your operators. Okay? So that kind of summarizes all the things we talked about. And again, really it's up to every organization to manage their own system, to do their own things, but we're here as partners. If you have questions or if you have best practices that we can share, that would be great. We'd love to share that with others and keep those things going there. Okay. So with that, kind of a summary. Again, we talked about what are the averages, what have people done this past year within those surveys. We encourage you to take part in that each year, and we can share that information. We can get some more information there out to others as well. So we appreciate your support on that. Any questions? Questions or comments? Okay, that's just kind of a summary there. We're going to go to our next presentation now. It'll be just a minute here. We'll get set up, and Mike Lewis will be coming up for that one.